Hi guys, Rory here from Your Golf Travel, and I'm back in London after a few days at the British Masters last week at Close House on the European Tour. I think the British Masters has become one of the standout events on the European Tour in the last few years after a bit of a rough patch where it actually got pulled from the calendar. But since it's come back and certain places have been asked to host it, people like Luke Donald, Ian Poulter, I believe next year is Justin Rose, and this year was Lee Westwood. The event has gone from strength to strength, and as I said, I think it's one of the best spectator experiences currently on the European Tour. So yeah guys, because I enjoyed myself so much at Close House and the general atmosphere at the event was absolutely awesome, I'm sure that had a lot to do with the North East sports fans.
4,000 people around this green, you've got to be noisy, you need more noise than that, a little bit more, there you go.
I'm going to talk about the standout events that you can attend on tour as a spectator. Obviously that will be different subject to whereabouts you're based, but from my perspective, being based in the UK, these are my favourite golf events to go to as a spectator. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the British Masters, and I think the first thing that springs to mind as to why that event has become so successful, I think it all starts with getting top tour pros hosting the event. That's proven to have worked at other events like the Irish Open, which Rory McIlroy has hosted for the last few years, and I think if you look at the quality of the field at this year's British Masters, I alluded to that in my other video as well, you had the likes of Rory, obviously Lee, Graham McDowell, Bernd Wiesberger, who's been a quality player in the European Tour for a long time, Miguel Angel Jimenez, Olazabal, past major champion, and obviously Ryder Cup winning captain. Obviously people like Lee would have quite a big influence in terms of getting players over to the event who might not necessarily play in it on their normal calendar. He definitely did a little arm twist and get Sergio and Rory over.
Which, if any, arm twisting did you do, Lee, and how specifically Rory, how much of a boost was it?
Just got them all drunk and asked them whether they were drunk. No, I didn't. But that would work for me. I asked Sergio over a year ago, and he said yes, delighted to. Obviously I've got on with Sergio really well for many years and played with him in the Ryder Cup, and I asked Rory at Sergio's wedding when we had a couple of glasses of wine, and he said if he didn't get to the Tour Championship, because obviously he was playing a lot in the lead up to this, and he was playing the Dunhill as well, and I think he was talking about playing Italy. He thinks seriously about playing here, and obviously didn't get to the Tour Championship, and he committed pretty much straight away after that.
And despite the fact that Sergio missed the cut and didn't play the weekend, what a coup for the British Masters to get the Masters champion in the field for 2017. But it's more than just the quality of the players who have played at Close House last week, it's the interaction they have with the fans who are up there. They've got things like clinics on the range, on the short game area, on course interviews, things like that. I know for a fact that lots of the players were quite open to chatting to people in the galleries, so I think, as I said, that connection with the fans is what's made the British Masters a fantastic event. Well played to Paul Dunn, by the way. That is a serious way to finish off your first European Tour win, especially with Rory McIlroy breathing down your neck. Closing pair of birdies, especially the one on the 18th, holing out from beside the green. It's probably the second best hole out I've seen in the last few weeks.
That could be great.
And that actually leads me on to my next event of choice, which is actually this week's European Tour event, the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, which is played across 3 of the world's best links courses in the form of the St Andrews Old Course, Kings Barnes and the ever so tricky Carnoustie, which gives the event quite a unique viewing experience for spectators. You've also got the celebrity pro-am element of the tournament, which I would imagine would cast quite a few more casual eyes over the event, get a few more eyeballs on golf, which is never a bad thing. I've been up to Alfred Dunhill before, but I've never actually played any of those 3 courses, St Andrews, Carnoustie or Kings Barnes, which is kind of a little bit painful considering my role at Your Golf Travel and the fact that I do get around more than my fair share. With that in mind, which of those 3 would you pick if you were going to advise me to pick one out of the 3? I can only pick one. Post comments down below and let me know which course out of the 3 I should be playing first. So So moving into 2018, away from the UK and towards the top end of what I would imagine would be most golfers' bucket lists, and come on, I was always going to mention this one on this video, is a trip to Augusta National and the Masters. I've been lucky enough to have gone to the Masters twice with work, and just walking that course for a hardcore golf fan like myself is an absolute treat. Masters also offers one of the best spectator experiences in sport, I would imagine. I know we keep going on about it, but the Masters chair pretty much guarantees you a front row seat wherever and whenever you want, as long as you get it down on your spot nice and early, that is. Concessions are cheap. You can get a beer for about $3, hot barbecue sandwiches for around the same price, I think. You got Amen Corner, you got the pond skipping on the practice days on the 16th, and no, it's just Augusta, isn't it? Hopefully I'll see some of you guys out in Augusta in 2018. If you want to make next year the year you tick that certain thing off your bucket list, check out the link in the description down there. I suppose the only other golf event that really comes close to the Masters is the Ryder Cup. Next year it's in Paris, Le Golf National, and despite the fact that I was a little bitter that I didn't get to go on the trip, we sent Mark Crossford and Coach Lockie out there to investigate.
Yards.
Apparently I wouldn't have been able to pack enough of those things.
As ever, we'll be hoping to send out a huge army of European fans to cheer on the boys. That American President's Cup team are looking pretty damn handy. It's a very young team too, with the likes of DJ, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Patrick Reed, Ricky Fowler, the list goes on and on. I know it's kind of painful to say, but who do you think is going to win that Ryder Cup? I know there's a lot of time between now and then, but as I said, if you look at the strength of that American team right from the top of the order right down to the bottom, that is a special group of players and they really could dominate team events for some time to come. So, don't like saying it, but I'm going to go with America. I'm also going to whack a link to our Ryder Cup golf holiday page in the description of this video, just below the Masters one. Sorry about all the plugs, guys, but some people always accuse me of never doing any work and not being in the office, so this is kind of work, technically. Away from those two absolute mammoth golf trips, the Masters and the Ryder Cup, I'm going to go back to the main European Tour. And another of my favourite events, which is the BMW Championship at Wentworth. So I probably lost count of how many times I've been to the event. It's a really convenient one for me. It's close to London. It's not too far from where my parents live, so I can go and snag a car and just drive up there for the day. The event always seems to be blessed with really good weather, every time I go at least. And it attracts a really good field most years. Last year I even got to go inside the ropes on the Pro-Am day with my buddy Lee.
200 to the top of the ridge, 209 to the flag.
Hey, top caddying. Happy retirement.
Partner, Alan Shearer, Ian Wright and Ronan Keating. I even met some of y'all there. So hopefully again I'll go next year and I might run into you again or see some new faces who I haven't already met. So there we have it, guys. Those are my favourite tour events to attend as a spectator. We've got the British Masters, we've got the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, we've obviously got the Masters, we've obviously got the Ryder Cup, those are two obvious ones, and I went for Wentworth as well, the BMW PGA Championship. Now something I didn't specify earlier in the video is that these are all events that I've actually been to. So I know some of you are going to be shouting at me for not listing the Open Championship. I've actually never been. Well, I went to a practice day once for about an hour, I was dropping some tickets off, but I don't really count that as a visit. So another thing I'd like to do is post comments down below on which tour events you most like to attend and which ones I should be looking up for in the future. As well as, of course, which course I should be playing from that rotation from the Alfred Dunhill, and I'd like some of you to reassure me that Europe are going to win next year as well. Post those comments.